Nowadays, you can't open Twitter for 5 seconds without seeing a new Kevin Durant rumor. Every day, it's some reporter who has some kind of inside info on how there's a new favorite who will land KD. Well, I'm here to tell you that 99.9% of NBA reporting is all BS. It's all the same reporters either stating the obvious or saying something outrageous just to generate clicks. So in today's video, I'm here to sort out all the BS. And I'm going to sift through all 30 NBA teams to tell you exactly who has a chance to land Kevin Durant. Now, we're going to do this in a two-part video where in today we rank them, and then tomorrow I'm going to show you all the trade packages that I cooked up for all the favorites. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. I do want to note before we get into this ranking system that Kevin Durant is on a $54 million expiring contract next season at the age of 37 years old, meaning that this offseason, he pretty much dictates where he wants to go, because what kind of team is going to trade for a 37-year-old on a large expiring contract when he can just walk the following season? So very likely Kevin Durant's going to end up in a destination where he wants to be as well, although he does have to be traded. Y'all get how it works. Unless we see a Toronto Raptors situation where they traded for Kawhi Leonard and then he walked the next year. Of course, that worked out for them. They won the championship, but that was different. That was a lot younger Kawhi than the 37-year-old KD. So make sure to keep that in mind as we go through these rankings. So I haven't actually looked through all these teams yet to pre-plan my rankings, because I thought it'd be kind of fun just to hit record and let y'all see my live thought process. So the tiers that I made up were 2 as, probably not, it's possible, and the favorites. The first team they have listed is the Detroit Pistons, which I'm going to put in the probably not category. They would definitely be a very fun team if they added KD, but he's like 10 years older than everybody else on the roster, so that doesn't make sense to me. Maybe the Pistons are looking at it like, hey, we almost beat the New York Knicks in the first round. We haven't had any playoff success in 20 years. Let's go get KD, maybe win a series or two, and that's good enough for us. So I could see them potentially wanting to do it, but I don't think that would be the smart decision in the long run. So they're going in the probably not category. Along with the Boston Celtics, I think things might have been different if Jason Tatum didn't get hurt. But because he's going to be out all of next season, they're likely not going to be contenders. So why would Kevin Durant go to that team and take a gap year at the age of 37? That just doesn't really make sense to me. The Milwaukee Bucks, I'm going to put in probably not as well. They might be really desperate to keep Giannis. We know they were supposedly going to meet with him a week ago to tell Giannis their plan to be contenders again soon. We never really heard the results of that meeting, so who the hell knows what happened? But at this point, I think there's a 70% chance that Giannis is gone. The 30% chance that he stays is, okay, maybe the Bucks get KD and Giannis thinks, hey, yeah, me and KD, we could make some noise next year. But I don't see how they could get that trade done, considering Giannis already makes $54 million. Durant makes $54 million. And then you have $54 million of dead money because Damian Lillard is also out all of next season. So at that point, it's like, what contracts are you going to even trade to Phoenix to get KD? They're not going to want Dame, because of the injury. That changes things too. Just like the Tatum injury. It's as unfortunate as it is, that's the reality we're in. For that reason, they're going in the probably not category. For the Atlanta Hawks, I guess I'll put it's possible just because we've heard so many rumors surrounding them. But he doesn't make them contenders either. They're mid without him. They'll probably be slightly better than mid with him, because I do think an offensive Trae Young and KD could be very fun. I like Onyeka Okongwu and the growth that he's had. Who knows what they're going to do with Clint Capella. But you got Jalen Johnson coming back from injury. It's just, I'm going to put it's possible because I think the Hawks might say, hey, in a weaker Eastern Conference, we've been to the conference finals before just a few seasons ago. Let's get Kevin Durant and try to go all in. So they might try to be ignorant in that regard, but I don't think it's possible, or I don't think it's likely, but it's possible just because they might want to go after it. The Oklahoma City Thunder, definitely in the favorites category. I mean, they're already down 1-0 in the NBA Finals. All NBA fans should root for the Thunder to win, because if not, the Thunder are going to use their treasure trove of draft picks to get whoever the hell they want. They want Giannis, they got him. They want Durant, they got him. They want both of them, they got him. They got like 15 first-round picks over the next 4 seasons or something crazy like that. They can get whoever the hell they want. And J-Dub only makes $9 million next year too. So they don't even have to trade him. They could trade Hartenstein, and they have Lou Dort and Caruso. They have the contracts to get it done, and they will be desperate if they don't come back to win this NBA Finals. So for that reason, I could see them having a homecoming with Kevin Durant, getting him back to OKC. I mean, and fit-wise, that'd be incredible too. You could play him at the 4. Maybe you got J-Dub at the 3, Shea at the point, and obviously Chet. Oh, that team will be so scary. They're easily a favorites for me. The Lakers, you can't count them out, right? You gotta put them at the favorites. I'd be stupid to count the Lakers out for anybody at this point. They do have some tradable contracts as well, like the expiring Dorian Finney-Smith, Roy Hachimura. Of course, you got Austin Reeves, who I still believe has some trade value, although a fit with Reeves and Booker is probably a bit awkward. But I know they still have at least one first-round pick because they didn't trade everything for Luka, which is crazy. So I do think they could be in contention for Kevin Durant. And obviously, timeline-wise, I know Luka's young, but you still got Bron. And KD and Bron have always been very close. The Orlando Magic, shoot, I might put them in the favorites too, because they're also going to be a team that looks at this East and says, hey, it's not going to be great next year. Let's go all in. We need offense. What better offense can we get than one of the most versatile scorers in NBA history? The reason I have them as favorites, where I put the Hawks as it's possible, is I do think the Magic could be a team that could maybe compete for like an Eastern Conference final if they had KD, because just the fit between Suggs and Paulo and Franz, and now you got the shooting of Durant, it really is just a match made in heaven. So while they won't be championship favorites, I do think they'd be a very, very good team. And for that reason, I could see them taking the swing at KD. The Timberwolves are clearly favorites. We know they're a bit younger with Ant as well, but Durant is a guy that could put them over the top. That makes sense both ways. I'd say the same thing for really the next several teams. I mean, we can slide in the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Clippers, and the Grizzlies all into favorites, because the Mavericks, they decided to go older when they traded Luka. Kyrie's going to miss some time with his ACL tear, but I think he'll be back late next year. You still have Anthony Davis. You could trade for KD and then flip Cooper Flag and other picks to get somebody else too. They really have a chance to get an absolute stacked super team that would win 82 games if the year was like 2016, because they're going with the old heads. That being said, those old heads can still hoop, and Kevin Durant just makes sense for them fit-wise, timeline-wise. That's clear. The Denver Nuggets are obviously going to be desperate too to finally get Nikola Jokic some help, especially on the offensive end. Contractually, it's a little bit weird because Michael Porter Jr. makes a ton of money and nobody wants him. But I am curious to see what else they have contractually. So we'll look into them tomorrow. It's just fit-wise and timeline-wise, it also makes sense. Same thing for the Clippers. You get a James Harden and Kevin Durant pairing, a repairing, which didn't work out so well last time. But timeline and fit-wise, it works great. The Clippers were a team that was very good in the regular season, came up very short in the postseason. I don't really trust James Harden as a playoff performer. Of course, I trust Kawhi, but his injury stuff will always be a question. But now if you have Kevin Durant as his insurance or playing next to him, yeah, I mean, that team would be awesome. Same thing with the Memphis Grizzlies, who really got their backcourt solidified. Morant, Desmond Bane, although there is questions about both those guys, and their fit isn't great. But they're two good players. We know we hear a lot of Ja Morant trade rumors, but if they're able to get KD, yeah, I mean, you keep that backcourt together. You got Jaren Jackson at the 4, Zach Edey at the 5. Yeah, that team would be very, very good. Then you got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I'm going to put in the it's possible category. They obviously had a dominant regular season, really flamed out in the postseason. Fit-wise, Durant is great. You know, you got your backcourt set up there and your front court with Mobley and Allen. But they would have to break up that big 4 to get KD, which they very likely may actually do, because for the second year in a row, they were awful in the postseason. And desperate times call for desperate measures. But I don't know if they're ready to break up that quartet, I guess you'd call it, just yet. Even though Kevin Durant, he'd fit so nice there, man. He really would. I kind of low-key, I want to slide them up to the favorites because they would be contenders. It's my video. We're going to slide them back up to the favorites. The Spurs and Rockets, yeah, we're going to put them both in the favorites also. I don't think adding Durant to those teams would make them a true championship contender, because I think they're still a little bit too young, because Durant is also 10 years older than the best players on those teams. But I do think that the Rockets and Spurs could convince themselves that they could compete. So for that reason, I'm going to put them in the favorites, because, of course, we've also heard their names thrown around a bunch. And they also have a ton of young assets and draft capital that could entice the Phoenix Suns to get the deal done as well. They just make sense as favorites. The New York Knicks will probably go in the favorites category too, just because we've heard them linked to KD a lot. They definitely have the contracts to make it work too. I've heard conflicting reports about whether the Suns would want Towns, but then we heard that they desperately want a big man. So it's like, which is it? I do think they'd want Towns because him and Booker have a very good relationship from Kentucky. And even if they don't want Towns, maybe you got a Mikal Bridges reunion or OG Anunoby. The Bridges reunion, that would be so funny. They trade Mikal to get KD, and then they trade KD back to get Mikal. That'd be hilarious. But both those guys, very good 3-and-D wings. They fit they would fit well next to Devin Booker. I could see the Knicks being desperate after getting humiliated in the conference finals. The Sacramento Kings, I'm going to put in the it's possible category. I don't think Durant would make a lot of sense for them, but they have one of the worst front offices in all of sports, which is exactly why they would pull a move like that. I mean, they always try to make the desperate move just to be mid, and that's stupid. Kind of sounds like the Miami Heat a little bit, to be honest, but they had some good teams. They finally made the playoffs after 20 years of missing outs. Okay, cool. And then everything just went to crap after that. You traded De'Aaron Fox. You traded Tyrese Halliburton, who can't stop hitting game winners in the NBA Finals and playoffs. Just a poorly run organization. They decided to go after DeMar and Zach LaVine, who are mid with Chicago. So, they're still mid with Sacramento. They're always a team that's just desperate to get a name. I can see them going after Durant. We'll put it in. It's possible. The Charlotte Hornets, definitely 2-ass. The Phoenix Suns are going in 2-ass because there's one, they have KD, and two, there's a 0% chance that they keep him at this point. I think that ship has sailed. And we'll put Portland in 2-ass as well. I remember back in the day, a lot of the rumors were flying around of pairing Dame with KD, but they're obviously going in a different direction. The Chicago Bulls, really the same as the Kings. They aspire to be mid and make desperate moves. So I won't put them in 2-ass. I'll put them in probably not, just because I think they'd be worse than the Kings if both of those teams got Kevin Durant respectively. But yeah, that makes no sense. They might try to make a desperate move, but why would KD want to go there? The Brooklyn Nets, they would be kind of ass with Durant, but I'll put them in the probably not tier just because they have the cap space, they have the picks, they have the big city glamour. I guess we'll give them that respect, although it's not likely at all. The Golden State Warriors, they're not going to be ass next year, but I'm going to put them in the 2-ass category because Durant explicitly said this past trade deadline he does not want to go back there. I think there's a 0% chance that they get him, so we'll put them in 2-ass. The Raptors, I don't think would be great with Kevin Durant either, depending who they trade, because I guess the Scotty Barnes and Barrett and Durant pairing, I guess it'd be kind of cool to see. But I'm going to put them in probably not just because you can never count out Masai Ujiri because he is the GM that traded for Kawhi. After Kawhi said, send me to L.A., Masai Ujiri is not scared. And we've heard a lot of those rumors flying around anyway, so I'll put them in the probably not. The Washington Wizards, we'll put them in the 2-ass category. Of course, back in the day, there was a lot of rumors of Durant going there as well because it's his hometown or he's from Baltimore. I don't know. He's from that area. And a trio of him, John Wall, and Beal would have been fun, but it didn't happen back in the day. It's not going to happen now. The Jazz are clearly ass. The Pelicans are ass, although they have a lot of young pieces. And I guess a Zion for Durant swap, that'd be kind of fun to see Zion and Booker together, assuming Zion doesn't get a lifelong ban or something. But yeah, they'd be ass. There's no reason they would trade for Durant. The Pacers, I mean, if let's say they end up losing this NBA Finals, they're only 3 games away, but if they lose, they might be desperate to do a move that they think can put them over the top since they did get so close this year, or they might win it. I think Durant would fit excellent next to Tyrese and Siakam. They do have a lot of nice young players that I think Phoenix would like as well. I'll put them in the favorites category because if they lose, Durant is definitely a guy that can put them over the top next season. The 76ers, I'm just going to say it's possible. Obviously, it makes sense from a timeline standpoint because you want to win around the aging Embiid. But even though they got a lot of nice young players, Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey and such, but they would have to trade Paul George, which, hey, if the Suns want to compete, maybe they can talk themselves into a Paul George and Booker pairing, even though that would be stupid. But if the Suns don't want Paul George, Philly would have to find a third team for PG and attach a bunch of assets to incentivize that team to take on Paul George because he has the worst contract in the NBA, and I just think that'd be very difficult to do. We saw how hard it is for the Suns to find a Bradley Beal trade. Now, I know a lot of that is because of the no trade clause, but it's also the money and the availability issues. Paul George has the same concerns. So I'll put it's possible, but I can't put them as a favorite because it's going to be too hard to make the money work. And then the Miami Heat, they got to be favorites, man. They tried to get Kevin Durant multiple times in the past. He's been interested in us. Why wouldn't he be interested again? I mean, would the Heat be true contenders with him? No. But can I talk myself into a Hero and Wiggins and KD and Bam and Khalil Ware team, making a run in a weaker Eastern Conference? You're damn right I could talk myself into that. So I'm going to put them in the favorites category as well. So those are all the teams that we're going to talk about in tomorrow's video. I'm going to cook up some trade packages for the Thunder, Grizzlies, Lakers, Cavs, Magic, Spurs, Wolves, Rockets, Mavericks, Knicks, Nuggets, Pacers, Clippers, and Miami Heat. So make sure y'all subscribe so you don't miss that. And like this video, comment your thoughts down below. All your support is very greatly appreciated. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out, everyone.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.